Welcome to the podcast, bro. Really appreciate having you here today. All the way up from Northwest London. I know you don't travel much for podcasts now that you're a big time superstar, as you were telling me before. But for those who don't know you, bro, who are you? What do you do? And why is it actually important that people validate and listen to you?
Sure. Firstly, thanks for having me. And
Come on.
Yes, I don't go on any podcast, but this one was a special one, hence why I'm here as well. So I'm gonna go a bit of start from. I'm gonna start from. I come from India, a small town called Dev. It's an island. Moved here at the age of 11 with my parents, obviously. Went to school, went to uni. After coming out of uni, realized that 9 to 5 isn't something I want to pursue for 40 years of my life.
Why?
Because I saw myself, I did a 9 to 5 for 2 years.
In what?
While I was at uni as an IT guy.
IT!
So,
Man from India doing IT again! Not again!
So I was doing IT job and I realized that this is no way I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. So I was like, okay, what should I do? And long story short, I went on a trip with my friends to Budapest. When I came from Budapest, I didn't have a job because I left that IT job thinking I want to start a business. Came from Budapest, had no money, was in debt for £4,000, and then I'm like, what do I do with life? And that's when lockdown happened, and Gary Vaynerchuk was always like, get on TikTok, make videos, document your journey. And I was like, I love teaching. Like teaching was something I always enjoyed, and motivating others and everything around that self-growth. And I was like, you know what? Why not document my journey of going from nothing to building a business, becoming a better version of me, changing my mindset and everything. Yeah. So then I basically made TikToks for 9 months during that lockdown, or 8 to 9 months during that lockdown. And I went from 0 to 60,000 followers, which for some people is big, but for me it was the growth wasn't happening. So I was like, what's happening? Like, why am I not growing? So then after 8 months or 9 months, I was like, let me go check other people, like how are they growing so fast? And I realized that the type of content they were producing was something that people can keep on watching. And when you can get that content to work and you have the right call to actions, in the next 60 days, I went from 60,000 followers to 1.1 million followers in that short amount of time. So that was my journey. And then obviously after I reached 1 million followers, I chose to start trying out actual side hustles and start building a side hustle. And that's when I kind of went into the Amazon FBA journey and built that as well to 6 figures. And then I started to make videos on YouTube and my Instagram as well. And so I diversified my audience from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube. And so now in total, I have over 1.6 million followers.
And you've generated somewhere around 600 million views.
160 million views. 160 million views.
Shit, that ain't good enough. I shouldn't have said 600 first. My dyslexia is kicking off.
Don't worry.
160 million views. Now that's incredible within itself. How are you sustaining your life as a creator when you were doing those 9 months of TikToks? How are you affording to live?
So I did go back to the job, the IT job. So luckily they took me back. I was like, I need some sort of income.
How did that feel, having to go back with kind of your hand out to say, hey, I'm back from Budapest, was it? And I need some money, so can you hire me again? Were they quite cool about it?
So they never knew all of that stuff. So when I went, they were happy to take me back. And I was just relieved that I have a job and I can pay off my debt. Yeah. So me going back, I've kind of that humility that I didn't have that ego. Or if I go back, I can't go back. I didn't have that. And even now I don't have that. That if everything crashes for me, I can just go back to a job. And so I still don't have that thing within me where like, I can't face my old job.
So you
or
don't
stuff
feel
like
like you're too big to ever be employed?
I don't think I will ever. If I get to that stage, then that's just ignorance.
Your head's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people suffer from, they take the big risk into entrepreneurship or being a creator. And because they leave on certain terms, they're 9 to 5 behind, they actually close the door behind them in this kind of burn the boat scenario. But then also, if it doesn't work out, they can't go back to that security and that safety blanket of that job, mainly because their ego gets in the way and they're too proud to say that they've failed. But failure isn't something that bothers you. No. If your audience, hey, let's say you got banned, you know, how do you feel about, as a creator who's so heavily leveraged on these numbers, right? You know, 1.6 million followers, 160 million views. This is now a part of your identity as a creator, but it's also in the hands of platforms that you don't have a personal relationship with the owners, as far as I'm aware. The users, us users, we don't have the CEO of TikTok, Facebook on speed dial yet.
Yet.
But how does it feel emotionally for you being a creator who's so heavily leveraged on something you don't own?
I mean, that's a really good question. So I'll go back to like, how do I sustain as a creator? And then I'll come to this question. So for sustainability, in the start, it was my job, which allowed me to kind of make sure that in the back of my head that there's money coming in and I don't have to really worry about reaching out to brands, having brand deals or ad revenue, anything like that.
Yeah.
So that was in the start. And then once I left my job, luckily I also started working on side hustles, like as I mentioned, Amazon FBA was there, and then brands were coming in and I was promoting brands. Affiliate marketing is a nice way, once you're at a certain amount of kind of numbers as well, really produces nice income for you. And I made sure in the beginning my expenses weren't high. Most creators will make like £10,000 a month, and then in 2 months they will have like a big, like sick car, they'll move out in a nice apartment. And
in Dubai.
Yeah. And
especially if they're Amazon FBA.
Well, no, I would say social media marketing more.
Hey man, you know, the side hustle encyclopedia, you got Forex, Amazon FBA, SMA, drop shipping.
I think that's what's ruined the name of kind of these side hustles, which these side hustles are great. They make you money, but I think most people over showing the lifestyle, which isn't really the lifestyle you're meant to be living, even, or like, it's not a lifestyle they have just got from there. And that's what most people don't understand. And I feel like when, like, kind of dropshipping, Amazon FBA, SMMA, they kind of have that bad name due to that. Because there are legit people like yourself in the social media space, and many other people I know who are actually do things and they make money through that.
Believe it or not, I ran my business for 2 years as a digital marketing agency owner, and I didn't even know what SMMA was 2 years later until someone said it to me, and they asked me at an event. So I was on stage.
Yeah.
I always looked at myself as a digital marketing agency. I never looked at myself as a social agency,
media,
but we are a social agency now. And this guy asked me on stage, he was like, how do I scale my SMMA? I was like, what's an SMMA? Everyone was like, what's an SMMA? You're the man who knows the SMMA world.
How do you not know?
I just never came across it because it was this cottage thing. It was this side hustle thing. My thing ain't no cottage thing. It was like, I'm working on this big multi-division, you know, agency, which isn't limited to just social media. And I started my journey as a digital marketer, not as a social media marketer, but then slowly you start getting results in one area, so you double down, right? One question I've got for you, you just mentioned it there about the lifestyle and the costs, is why do you feel like so many people who come from nothing seek so much validation through material objects, like the cars, like the apartment, like the location that they're living? Why is that?
I think the real answer to that is their childhood traumas. So what I mean by that in simple, could be the reason that the parents never gave them the lifestyle, and they think that success means having more money, having a nice car and everything like that, which is true. You need to go through that phase to understand that no, that is not everything. But in the start, I think, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, it was always about my parents. The biggest problem in my family was money. And so once I have money, I want a good car, I want a good house, I want this, that, everything. And that was a definition of me before, of like, yes, now I'm successful, now I have everything. And I'll also go back to the question which you asked previously, was like, how as a creator, I kind of make sure that social media is there, but I don't fully rely myself on just one platform, or not one platform.
You're highly leveraged.
On this platform. So
high risk.
So what I done was, I knew TikTok had the biggest chance of blowing up, and in India they banned TikTok. In America they were planning to ban TikTok.
Is that why your family moved?
No, I think TikTok didn't exist when I moved to the UK.
Jatin, we gotta go, man. Your audience is growing. The bandit here. We gotta go to the UK.
But so there were plans of TikTok being banned in the UK as well, and that's when I'm like, holy crap, I need to start diversifying my audience.
Yes.
So that's when I started going on YouTube and started building my user base on YouTube, or subscribers.
Yeah.
And I realized that YouTube is so much better and so much consistent in terms of money as well, where you don't have to rely on brands. Ad revenue makes you much more enough than, like, if you're in the right niche, like the finance niche, then your CPM is high enough for you to sustain your lifestyle. And if you have a team, you can literally pay the team as well from that, and you will still have some left. So my whole thing was kind of diversifying, but then I was still relying on all these platforms which could shut down any day. So that is the reason why I had Amazon FBA, and then I had my coaching or mentoring program as well, which kind of, I made sure I diversified my income with multiple sources so that if one closes, I have another one. And so I'm not really relying just on social media itself.
You mentioned their childhood trauma, and this is the reason why so many people, young entrepreneurs, seek material validation through cars, watches, clothes, location. And then you said that isn't the thing that's going to make you happy, but a lot of these people are traumatized because they didn't have it before, and they think that's the definition of success. How did you evolve out of that, or did it never exist for you? Because you said your parents didn't have much money.
Yes, so that, I said it in one of my podcasts, that my worst time in life was after I made it. So I wanted to gain 1 million followers. I done that. I wanted to make £10,000 a month. I done that. £50,000 a month. I done that. Every time I achieve that number, then I would feel like, I feel so bad. Like I feel like, like this isn't what I was thinking it's gonna make me feel like. I thought it was gonna be the best thing. Like my life's gonna change upside down. But you hit 1 million followers, 30 seconds later, life's the same. Nothing has changed. It's not like a button just, like you press a button and everything changes. Nothing happens. So when you're chasing things, I feel like you're never gonna be fulfilled in life. The only way I feel fulfilled, and I learned that the only way I can be fulfilled is by having an impact. So rather than thinking of achieving a certain amount of numbers, I could change my mindset in the sense that I need to impact 10 million people before I leave this planet, because I only have a certain amount of years here. After that, I'm gone as well. So when I think of that sense, I have a sense of purpose, and I feel more fulfilled every time I make a video. Or else it's just like me making another video for the sake of making money or buying this and that.
Are you leaving the planet when TikTok gets banned here? Where are you going?
I hope TikTok's not getting banned anytime soon. But
I'm only joking. That's really interesting, and I feel like a lot of people go through that, but also a lot of creators never make it to that level of income in their lives. One of the things that I've experienced being a social media agency owner for 7 years is the amount of broke creators out there. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a broke creator, having a massive audience, but I notice they don't know commonalities, or they don't know how to monetize their social media audience to save their life. And they're often waiting for these brand deals that are always one-offs, that are always inconsistent, that the terms are so heavily skewed on the brand side, because there's way more creators than brands that actually want to pay and hire them, right? The decline in influencer marketing has taken place over my career as well. It's nowhere near as popular as it was. That peak has gone. How do you feel creators in the modern day can actually monetize their audiences to actually make a living? One statistic I saw was, I think it was only the top 3% of creators in the world make even a salary that they can take as income from their social media audiences. How do people change that?
I think the first thing I want to add to that is that anyone you see on TikTok, if they have 10 million followers and that's all they have, then most likely they're not even making a good amount of money, because one, the only source of income they would have would be through affiliate and through brand deals. And as you mentioned, brand deals aren't as consistent. You might get to a stage where there will be no brand deals who are reaching out to you, and so then you will have no money. And that's when, like, some people are gonna make 10,000 in a month, but then in the next 6 months they will make £0, and they won't even be able to survive.
You can't live like that psychologically. And that's what I get. I got a lot of these people who then, one way is obviously to start your own brand, but starting your own brand takes a specific skill set. It's not instant gratification. That money's not going to come day one unless your audience have been begging for you to have a product for ages. So then they go to promoting other brands that, you know, are inconsistent. It's yo-yo money, up, down, up, down. The other thing that happens is these creators, that they don't realize what kind of machine they're plugging their audience into. As soon as they do this promotion, and I'm speaking as a creator on a much lower level, but I've just done a collaboration with Dell for startups, right? And I'm aware that as soon as I've promoted that and sent traffic to their link, they're pixeling that link, and now my audience has been harvested. So why do they need to come and hire me again? Because they just got the most relevant portion of my audience to their offer. And now when you look at creators as a much bigger entity, you're essentially getting your spine's getting ripped out because every time you send your audience somewhere, it's a one-time thing, it's a one-night stand, and they don't need to keep coming back to you.
Yep.
How many times have you been rehired by brands?
Exactly. I think when working with brands, most creators aren't smart enough. Like when I first started working with brands, I would just do one-off videos, and they would get amazing results, and they would be gone.
Yeah.
And they would also have my videos. Sometimes in the start, I didn't know that I was giving them rights for everything, so they would even add boost and everything. They would take advantage of everything.
So they can now use your video on an advert for the next 24 months.
Exactly.
Or 12 months.
And as a creator, you wouldn't even know that, and you'd be like, you know what, doesn't really matter. But you're making the biggest mistake, because if you're growing your personal brand and they're using your video on every single social media platforms of theirs, then technically, if you're not making anything in return, it doesn't work. And it's the biggest scam which brands have done, even with myself as well. And I had to tell them that, no, you cannot do this. And then they would be like, okay, we need a refund or something like that.
How should creators structure their deals? What's the best way for you with brands?
So the way I approach brands now is I never work on one deal. Like, I never do that. I exclusively work on 3 or more deals. The reason being is because number 1, it will be cheaper for the brands. And number 2, it will guarantee more results to the brands. The reason being is because in marketing, I'm sure you already know that when you advertise something for the first time, or when you reach out, that's your first initial kind of
Cold audience,
yes. Then the second video is kind of your warming. They're seeing it more often.
Yeah, middle of funnel.
Yes, and then the third one is final. Be like, oh, has come up again.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me just buy this, or let me just install this, or something like that. Which is the reason why I want to make sure that the brand isn't just paying me for one video, and the chances are it's going to do trash or it's going to do really well. But if you give me 3 deals, it's going to be cheaper, but I will guarantee you results. So I go in that way. And then if they do get results, then I can just tell them that, you know what, we can increase this partnership to maybe 6-month partnership, where I produce a certain amount of video every single month for you. In return, you pay a certain amount of fee. And if there's a type of install or royalties or anything, we can work on that as well. So trying to get, if as a creator, your whole goal is that don't just work one-off with a brand. If you want to create a sustainable business around content, then you need to work on like a minimum partnership of 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months.
In those deals, should creators represent themselves? Do you represent yourself?
So in those deals, yes, I represent myself and my personal brand. Hence, I only work with, let's say, I worked with 2 brands max in the last year, only 2. Like I worked with them for over 12 months. And so if you're just going to represent yourself, then I would ideally just tell you that don't go on more than 3 brands to work with, because if you're having 12 deals and then every month you're promoting like 12 of them, your audience going to be like, this guy's just making.
How do you actually qualify the right deal for you and the right brand for you? What are the red flags which you see that you would make you say, you know what, I don't want to get paid by this brand. Yeah. Is it in my best interest? It isn't aligned with who I am. How do you qualify that past the money?
So whenever there's a high amount of money with any brand, people are like, influencers are always like, holy crap, I don't care about my audience.
Yeah, they pull the pants down.
I'll just go for this. Yeah. But that's the biggest mistake you can do. So what I do is that if a brand has approached me, I first look at them like, what are they offering? Is that offer something I would even use myself? And my audience itself, like, does this even relate to my audience? Because sometimes some people reach out to me with like, I don't know, like this plant, like promote this plant for us. And I'm like, why would my audience care about a plant when
that's
they
all? That's my brand.
They're basically about making money and kind of everything around money. So whether it's saving money, yes, it makes sense. If it's like accounting related, yes, it makes sense. Yeah. So everything revolving around finance,
so relevancy is one thing.
Relevancy to your audience. And you have to understand that your audience is your biggest kind of people who you need to take care of. The moment they lose respect in you, it's all over.
Have you ever had any promotions where you've got a bit of backlash? Because a lot of creators now.
Yes.
There was one, I'll give you an example. There was one influencer, Indian as well, and he is a medical professional and he makes great content. And he promoted some specific supplements with specific health gains. And I know on the back end, the brand, I don't know the influencer or the creator, but the brand told me about the promotion and we saw the metrics. They generated about 500 units in sales off the back of it. So it's successful for them, but they couldn't rehire him because he had a massive backlash from his audience, calling him a sellout, you know, saying that he's lying just for some cash and a payout. Have you ever had any kind of experience, not
So,
that extreme, but where there's been a backlash?
I haven't had the most extreme ones, but I've only promoted one crypto.
What?
One
We forgot that in the side. That's added to the side hustle encyclopedia.
Yes. So I only promoted one crypto coin that was in the start of like end of 2020 or start of 2021.
Pump and dump.
Yeah, it was a pump and dump, I think. I didn't know that initially because this was the peak, not even peak, but it was the starting.
It was on trend, man.
Yes, it was on trend. And these were the times when like people send stuff and you read the white papers and everything, be like, yeah, this shit is going somewhere. And then in a few months' time, it's nowhere to be found. So that was my first and last.
Some of your audience lost money with that.
I think the good thing was I promoted it for like a week and then TikTok gave me a strike. Like it just shut off, so it wasn't popular enough. But I had like 300,000 views on that video itself, so there were many comments and stuff like that related to that.
How do you feel now looking back on that for the people who lost money?
I think luckily, not many people invested into that coin as well. And I wasn't paid for the coin, I was paid in their tokens of that coin as well.
Yeah.
So what was crazy is that my investment went to zero as well. So I didn't make any money, but I still remember, luckily most people didn't invest in that coin, but there were few people who did, and they were like, my money from 100, it went to like 30 quid. It didn't go to zero, but it went to 30 quid. But then there was another hype for that same coin, which took it up. And then again, I don't know if they took it out or not.
How do you feel about those people that did invest? And if they did lose some...
At the end of the day, I always, every video I like, well, that was the one and last video I made, but that video I always say that only invest what you're willing to lose. And so with that, I always go with the sense of like, look, if you're investing £100, you're meant to know that you could lose that money, and that's with investing as well. But like
so
you would always
disclaimer on it, so
yes,
you did try to let them know there was some
exactly.
warnings.
And I've not done any investment platforms, or I've done like free trade and everything, but every time there is a kind of investment related, I would always say that your money is at risk.
Yeah.
So
with creating content, one of the most common objections we get from businesses is the amount of time it takes. And even if you streamline, hire a team, outsource, if we are, let's say, promoting a personal brand, a CEO of a business, they're going to have to jump on camera and speak face to camera, face to the side of the camera. Where do you find the energy? Is it just the motivation comes from the commercial game, which is you're making money whilst impacting all these lives? But what is the thing? Because there must be days where you're like, I cannot be asked to make a video today. I don't want to get in the studio. I don't feel like it. You might be, you might not be well. You might have a little bit of a cold or a flu. How often do those days happen? And what actually motivates you to keep the volume of content?
So it was funny, but while we were driving here, I was recording and I was like to the camera that you all must be thinking, how do I have the discipline and how do I have the energy to kind of go 2 hours, travel just for like 2 hours, shoot and then come back? And I was like, if you want to become an influencer or content creator, you cannot do it just for the money. It will kill you. Like you're going to have burnouts every other week. You're going to be like, oh man, I don't want to do this forever. Like I'm tired of this.
It's exhausting.
But it's really exhausting. Mentally, you will suffer so much if you just do it for the money. But if you enjoy the process and if you love doing, like making content itself, for me, my biggest passion is creating content and kind of putting out a message from that camera itself. And so I will never get bored of that. So even when I feel like I don't have the energy or the time or not time, but energy or the power to kind of go in front of camera, now I'm just used to it so much that even if I don't feel like it, I'm just going to still be there.
You're going to talk about how you don't feel like it.
Yeah, I'm just going to be there and be like, look guys,
I don't feel like it today.
I don't feel like it today, but I'm still here.
Hey, there's this crypto, you might want to... we got a couple promotions.
We got to do it.
50 years time when you're just exhausted and you've lost your passion for it. And every platform's banned.
Yeah, but there is one thing as well, is that when I do, it's not that I'm a superhuman or like if you love what you do, you will never burn out. When I do get that, I take a break. I take intentional breaks a lot now. So every week there's going to be 1 day off. I must have it for my head to kind of just recollaborate and everything. So 1 day a week, I need that. Sometimes I will need 2-3 days off. Not do anything related to like creating content itself.
Sure. As a content creator with such a decent following, How are you finding it in terms of your personal life? You come across as a really humble guy, and I resonate with a lot of the stuff you've said. But a lot of creators, I'm going to say it how it is, are absolute dickheads. For real. Like the most egotistical, ugly personalities, aka / desperate people I've ever come across in my social media career. It's ugly what some of these people will do for views. It's ugly what they'll say for views. It's ugly what they'll promote. They're very isolated, desperate people as a small percentage of the entire creator economy. How do you, first of all, have you come across that in the kind of creator economy, or do you distance yourself from other creators? And second of all, how do you avoid becoming that kind of egotistical personality when you've got such influence and persuasion of so many people?
So there's definitely people like that, and I know for a fact I have even spoken with few, and when you meet them, you get the vibe from them. Be like, this person is like that. Like some people, just because they have few more 100,000 followers than you, they will treat you in a different way. And so the way I just don't bother communicating with them from that point onwards. Like that was the first and final time I've met with them. Now there are certain creators, like fellow creators in TikTok, which I meet with them regularly. They're just people like me. We wanna work on content so much, and we just love doing it. So I meet with them regularly, and they kind of, because there's a saying that the 5 people you surround yourself with is how you're going to be. There's just a lot similar.
Looking at this room, we're screwed.
So they're similar to how I am, and so I'm always in that sense of like being humble, not having an ego, because what I've learned from my TikTok journey is that you will have your peak time, but then you will have your downtime as well. And if you're not humble here, then this place is going to be the most scary place for you. Yes.
And people love to jump on
exactly
the downfall of views and influence and persuasion.
Yes. And people love that. Like people want you to fail, and they're waiting for that. Even if you're humble, they're still waiting for you to come to the bottom.
Some people won't believe your true nature.
Yeah.
They'll look at you and say, this is his face-to-camera personality. I mean, you were completely different off camera. That's a joke, that's a joke. But no, some people will see that, because I've seen that. I've seen characters that are built for camera and for distribution. Obviously, I can vouch for you, bro. You're an authentic geezer, from our previous conversations as well. But some people will see that and they'll say, this is by design. This is, there's a guy called Ben Francis who owns Gymshark. And, they're worth $1 billion or whatever. He's from Birmingham.
Oh, he's from Birmingham?
Yeah, Gymshark's from Birmingham. He's from Birmingham. And a lot of people will see his persona, which was quite reserved, and kind of attack him for it in the comments, saying he's not, he can't really be like this. He can't be that successful and be so chilled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With yourself, obviously, this is something that you're constantly growing with, social media. How do you choose the kind of creators that you collaborate with as well? Is it just on vibe, or is it based on following? Do you actually look at the metrics? How important is that to you?
So my first thing is the vibe. Like, it has to meet my vibes. If it doesn't, then there is no way I'm even going to bother communicating with them. So forget collaborating. I don't even communicate with them. And when it comes to followers itself as well, luckily, I'm at the stage where even if they have 1 million followers, it doesn't really matter. I can just show them mine as well. I'm like, look, we're on the same level, so you can't be like, I'm more in this and that. Because when I do, for my podcast, if I reach out to a certain individual with a certain number of followers, most likely they don't come. They're like, the podcast is still not that popular yet, so we're not going to come. So what I do is that I reach out to the ones which I would like, they vibe with me, and then if they do come, I know these are the real ones. And I make sure I stay in contact with them, because these people are coming not because of the followers and everything, but because of who I am as a person.
To connect
with me
in the real world.
In the real world. And those are the creators you would want to collab with as well, and kind of keep growing your friendship and kind of meet them more often, work with them, because they will help you grow as a person as well. And they're there because of you, not because of your following or stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. So actually real relationships.
Real relationships.
One thing, that I think is really important for especially younger people now, you see a lot of videos online where young people would say, do I saw one the other day. Do you want £1 million or 1 million followers? And all these young kids were talking about 1 million followers because they could monetize it for more than £1 million.
I would take £1 million any day. Forget the 1 million followers.
Dude, but this is so insane, right? These kids think that social media following automatically means you're going to promote something which is going to sell at the high enough volume to make a pound a follower. It's not that easy.
People don't know this.
It's so hard.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, but when I reached 1 million followers, someone told me that, if you now ask 1 million of your followers £1, you're a millionaire.
The conversion rate is like 0.0.
And I'm like, all right, try do that and then come to me. Because you can promote a product, and just like you said previously about building a brand is completely different to building a following on social media.
Yes.
Because building a brand, what it takes for that is not how you're going to go from 0 to 1 million followers in 2 months and then you're going to have one deal coming in and that's going to instantly give you money. Building a brand means you have to go from 0 to £100,000 in sales for like 2 years. It could take 3 years, 4 years. So it's completely different on the other side of this thing. But yes, it's not easy to sell, and the conversions, and like once you become a creator, you understand why even having 10 million followers is pointless if you can't convert them. And so these are the important stuff they don't know prior to having followers or prior to having money as well.
But this is the thing. Followers is one source of validation that you're doing something well because people want to follow for the right reasons, wrong reasons. Andrew Tate's a good example of that. Yeah. People follow his content to either hate on it or they're in love with it. Money and how much money people make is another source of validation.
Yes.
But also quite a shallow one, equally, I would say, as followers. Because if you respect somebody based on their followers, based on their income, how can you actually respect the real person behind that?
Exactly.
And how can you actually have self-respect for yourself? Because your followers will never be bigger than someone else's, and your money will never be as big as someone else's. And I feel like that just slowly degrades our inner self, and people are suffering behind closed doors because of this, having that forward-facing, extremely happy persona, when in reality, they're a corpse within, and they feel like death itself because they're living a lie, because their followers aren't enough, their money's not enough, their lifestyle isn't enough. How do you feel about real relationships now that you are a creator? Because I mean, do you have a partner?
No.
So no romantic relationship. Do you think if you did have a partner and she wasn't a creator, that would affect your output as a creator? Or he, hey, I don't know, man. It's 2023, man. He or she, or non-binary. Hey, whatever floats your boat, brother.
I'm definitely a she person, so there's no way, nothing else for me.
They're your pronouns.
But yes, so going to your question about like meeting real people and kind of connecting with them as well, I learned that lesson really, really badly when I had 1 million followers, right? I reached 1 million followers recently, but
I think you said that, yeah.
But I have 1 million followers, guys. Yeah,
guys, he's got 1 million followers.
So when I reached that number, I was like, I don't feel that vibe. Like, I still remember when I had one person, real human, sitting next to me, and I was talking to that person. I felt so sick. Like that kick inside me, I felt fulfilled. I felt amazing when I was motivating that person. I do that on the phone. You don't feel anything. You don't feel that same level of like, I'm feeling fulfilled. Whereas communicating with 100 real human beings is worth more than communicating to 1 million number online.
I love that.
So that's when I understood the power of real connections with people. And so that's why now my whole goal is like, even if I can go to a meetup where there are 10 people, I'm going to go to that. Because those 10 people, I would love talking to them in real person compared to just them being online behind a freaking phone and double tapping my videos.
Yeah. So you're not identifying with your public brand in terms of who you are as a real person. But you didn't answer my question. If you did have a relationship with a female, you said you're into the ladies. If you had a significant female in your life, do you think that would affect you as a creator if she wasn't one?
I think because I haven't been in that situation, my answer might not be correct, but I would feel that if I communicate with her properly, I don't think there's going to be a problem. Yes, I would have to distribute my time equally to make sure that the person has enough time, And that's one reason why I'm not in a public relationship or having a relationship. And
An open relationship, you nearly said. You're in a couple of open relationships.
which is the reason why I don't, I'm not in one right now. So I would say having a good communication and just making sure there is an understanding and knowing that this is my life, this is what I do, this is my job, and I have to ensure this is done.
Yeah.
So then if that doesn't work, then I don't think that can go longer.
Yeah. One thing that we share is that we both have degrees. My
Yes.
educated brother. Traditional education.
Traditional education.
Now, you got to be careful saying that you've even got a degree and you took that student loan or you got that scholarship these days, because now the popularized thing is I didn't get an education and I'm more successful than everyone who did, in the worst instances of that. What do you think was good about getting a traditional education, which nobody really ever wants to talk about?
So my thoughts about uni was so different back then, because I used to listen to everyone and I used to be like, yeah, these people are right. Oh, I'm going to say the exact same thing. But now it's kind of changed. When I did choose to go uni, that time I had no idea of entrepreneurship or anything. When I went uni, I just went because that was the path I was led from school. And in a way, uni is great to network with people. You get to meet different people. You get to learn theories behind subjects which could help you in some sort of way in your life. For example, I learned few things about project management in my degree in computer science, which does help me when I was trying to build this SaaS platform and stuff like that. So there are a few things there are many things a uni degree will help you with. But if you're choosing a degree for the sake of making, let's say, having a successful or a wealthy life, then I feel like, yes, it's possible with a degree, but it might take, if like after uni you're gonna go in a job, then it might take you like 20, 30 years until you become a partner in a company and then you make a shitload of money. Whereas if your choice is to become an entrepreneur, then you don't have to go to uni. You can choose to go to it just to network or have a safety net. Most people say don't have a plan B, but in my opinion, I think it's all right to have a plan B, because sometimes life doesn't go the same way you want it to go. And when you know there's a safety net, it drives you more, that you're not really scared that, oh, I don't have anything to fall back on.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are influenced on social media by an extremist position on every subject.
That's the really...
I've got to be 100% against it or 100% for it. I've got to burn the boats and have no plan B. Why?
Yeah.
Why are we all forced into such vulnerable and provocative situations where we've taken all of the risk on board? And what about when you lose? Yeah, it might make good content if you're documenting it, but you can't really put that content out for the benefit until you've made it a success again. Because
exactly.
That's going to be a couple of months bouncing back. And I feel like that's something that creators have actually contributed to a lot.
Yes.
Because the most provocative hook, the most provocative caption, the most provocative headline is what gets the views.
Yeah.
So it's all this clickbait culture that has been imprinted into the subconscious mind of so many of the social media platform users is now influencing people in the real world to take on way more risk than any rational or sensible person would take. Do you feel responsible for that?
Luckily, my hooks have never been too much like Andrew Tate extremist type of hooks.
Don't say Andrew Tate, man. We can't put it out. We're going to get banned.
But they have not been extreme. Whenever I do go for hooks, I make sure that it gets the attention, but it's not. Even if the hook is in a negative way, by the end of the video,
It'll be reversed.
It will be reversed. And so it's kind of just reverse engineering.
Which is just great marketing, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you are a marketer.
I have to market myself and I have to get the views and stuff like that. But you're right. When people jump on social media and they listen to people, they think what this person is saying is what I have to follow my life and I have to do this and everything. They forget that you are you. You need to look within you and be like, does this make sense for my life scenario? And this also happens with kind of females comparing themselves on social media, like, oh, this relationship is so happy, but okay, this girl's on a trip to this place and I'm here doing my this and that, but you have to look at your life, your scenario, and you can't compare stuff. So go within you and be like, it's fine if I want to do stuff like this, it's okay. That person's there, yes, he's a good mentor or guide, but I don't have to stick by every single word of that person.
Yeah, I think that's really, really powerful. And one thing that I would add to that is you're only as important on social media to other people who are on social media. A lot of the world still aren't on social media.
Yes.
So when you go back to India and you go back to the island which you come from, and I'm assuming an island, not everybody there is going to be on social media if they're in their 80s or 70s.
No.
And, you might see your grandmother or your grandfather, whatever. Your social media following actually means nothing to them.
Nothing to them. Nothing. And that's
quite profound.
Yeah.
Because you're only as important, and if you are somebody who gains such a big ego because you've got social validation, followers, likes, and engagement, that's only important until you meet someone who isn't even on the platform you've built this ego around, which I find is so profound and embarrassing for those that are really disdain in that industry. How do you feel about that? Because again, that's something that creators are battling with. It's their self-image, their self-worth. At the end of the day, somebody mentioned that sometimes creators are like prostitutes. Because, like you said, the right brand deal comes, the right amount of cash, they'll pull their pants down and say, have all the rights to my videos, have advertising rights on this video for the next 24 months, don't pay me a royalty. And it's kind of like the music industry, where they'll get that big $2 million advance, and then they're in it for 4 albums for the next 6 years. They spend that $2 million the first year, and now they've got no income.
Yeah.
How do you navigate such a volatile life?
The importance of being humble is the key. Like, even if you have 10 million subs, and if you're identifying yourself when you meet someone with subscribers or followers, that's completely wrong. If I met him or Arpan and were like, yeah, I'm Jats, I have 10 million followers, then you're forgetting the part where you're meeting a human, and that human might not know you. So being humble enough to know that this person should not know about me, it's super important to that. So that's kind of what I like. Whenever I meet new people in an event or anything, I just greet them as who I am, like Jatin or Jats. And then if they know about me, I'm like, oh, thank you so much for watching my stuff and everything. Other than that, I don't expect them to know about me as well. And that kind of helps me to stay in the right mindset as well. And what's crazy is that for people outside, they think this is Jats with 1.6 million followers. I don't feel like shit. Like I feel like, I just have like 1 subscriber on
What would it take for you to stop making videos?
What would it take to stop making videos?
What's the amount of money I could pay you as a competitor to say, hey, I need to take this guy's market share. I want his brand deals. How much do I need to give you up front to get you to stop making videos?
I think 0. The reason being is because I'm not going to take that money firstly.
There's no price?
There's no price. The reason being is because this is not that if you pay me $1 billion, yes, I would. But the reason why
is that dollars or pounds?
Dollars. No pounds, dollars. I'll take dollars. Even though it will be less.
Or crypto? Can I give you tokens?
Oh man, those days. But the reason being is because let's say you pay me to not make any content at all, then I'll be bored as fuck.
You lose your passion.
This is my passion, and then what am I going to do in life? Become a monk and then just go in the forest and meditate? That's something I want to do in the future, but not become a monk, just meditate in the future in the forest or something. But I don't think any amount of money will be worth it in the long run.
Yeah.
Before, I used to look at everything in the short run. I used to look at like in 1 year's time or like 1 month's timeline. But now I realize the importance of thinking long. Yeah. And I realized that because now I'm doing content for over 3 years. And thinking back, it's taken so much like work and effort and everything to be in this position as well. Yeah. And I've only been able to do that because it's my passion and I enjoy doing content as well. So if I give that away, then what am I going to do? I'll be bored to death.
I love that, bro.
Yeah.
But $1 billion, you do it.
Yeah. Billion, I will do it. Billion, I will be bored to death. Well, after I'm a billionaire, I'll just get everything I want and then I'll just
Talk to me. Is it easier or harder to go viral from scratch right now than when you started in the first 365?
I'll be honest.
Be honest.
I'll be honest. It was easier then, a lot easier then, but it's still easy in the sense that you can still go viral.
100%.
So it was easier before, but you can still go viral on TikTok or any other social media platforms with the right content strategy.
Give me the simplest step-by-step right now on how somebody, a business, a brand, a personal brand, should just literally boom, 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 top line, no depth. Just give me top line on how somebody can make their brand or their personal brand go viral.
Cool. Firstly, get a niche, like what niche you want to talk about content. Then choose one platform, not all platforms, choose one platform. And in my opinion, it should be TikTok because it has the most organic growth. Once you've done that, now it's time to create the content. Now, here's where most people go wrong and why they don't blow up or they don't grow. One piece of content can be said in many ways. You could say how to make money online in 3 or 4 ways. The way you need to produce that content is in the most engaging way. And by engaging, there are 3 things. You need a hook, you need the value, and you need a call to action. If you want followers, call to action is super important. And if you want people to watch the video, the hook is really important. But now the most important part is the value as well. So here's what you need to remember when producing a good piece of content. Yes, you have got the most amazing hook, people have started to watch the video. But if in the first 5 seconds your value is so boring and you have given the answer already in the first 5 seconds, then people are going to scroll away. So what you need to do is keep putting questions upon questions upon questions until the last 10 seconds or so. That's when you give them the actual answer to. In the middle, you just entertain them, and then you give the answer, and then you have the call to action. You do that, make that piece of content, stay consistent with it for at least 6 months, I would say, at least 6 months. And if in those 6 months you're producing 1 video a day and then you don't go viral at all, then my friend,
There we go.
I have no words.
My friend, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, just stop making content for yourself. But
You suck, bro.
I will guarantee any brand or person, if they do that 6 months, 1 video a day, the chances of them reaching 100,000 followers on TikTok is possible.
I like that.
Possible.
That's really, really interesting because that's one of the strategies that we teach in our content launchpad training, which is, the hook, the call to action. But that piece you've just said there is quite triggering and it's quite spiking because you're talking about dangling that carrot.
Yeah.
You're talking about giving hook after question after question.
Exactly.
Right until they're like, you know what, I'm about to go.
Yeah.
And then you deliver the value or the answer to the question. That's a very difficult thing for some people to do because as a marketer,
it comes with
creator,
experience.
Exactly.
Yes.
And a lot of people can barely get the first hook on a video to draw attention. They struggle with that.
Yep.
How can people actually, fast track that experience and get into a position where now they can start selling their own brand and generating traffic to that audience?
So firstly, to come up with content, the fast track method will be go look at other people in the same niche, go look at the most popular videos they have created, copy them. That's the most simple way. But copy them in your own way, copy them in your own style.
What about people that are desperate to be authentic and they feel like, I don't just want to do what everyone else is doing? What would you say to them?
Then it will just take a lot longer for them. So if you want to be purely authentic and be yourself, then you still need to follow these methods. But to come up with content itself, being authentic means you will be able to produce 1 good piece of content a week. That's how long it can take you because you will be spending so much time, so much effort into trying to come up with content. But why not? Yeah, but why not just do what's working, get that initial user base, and then just be yourself? Because if you do it for long enough, people will fall in love with your personality. Or what you can do is that if you want to be authentic, and I think most people misinterpret authenticity on social media. Authenticity means you bringing your own personality in your videos. That's what you being you is. Like on this podcast, you laughing and joking around is who you are as a person.
Yeah.
But if you try to be like, yeah, Jats, what's happening? That's going to be dead. So you can copy the same video, but that same video will be different because it's you in that video. And that's how
I want a foghorn sound. But that is actually, quote unquote, a value bomb. That is like a proper value bomb. But people don't understand this. And this is what we're educating businesses on. It's like, to hear it from you is so refreshing because people think to be authentic, it has to be something that's never been done before. So that would by nature mean that unless you're the very first in any industry to create that specific product or service, you're an inauthentic business.
Exactly.
You're not original, which is the dumbest concept in this planet because we're all just reliving and reproducing the same concepts with new technology.
100%.
It's the same storytelling that a man would have told in a playground
Yes.
100 years ago, but now it's on a screen.
Nothing is new. Every idea is stolen. And there's a book, Steal Like an Artist. It's a book which basically shows like everything, even the paintings done by the most amazing artists, has been stolen from somewhere.
Well, something that I like is, it's not stolen, it's inspired by.
It's inspired. You just put that inspired.
Hey bro,
by
this video looks a lot like my video. Hey, you inspired me, bro.
Yeah.
I got 10k, I got 10k more views than you, but thanks for the inspiration. One person actually said to me once, they're like, Aaron, your social media, I just want to thank you for the marketing strategy you put into it. Because every time I see you talk about something, I actually go and talk about it on my own social media or on an email. And they repurpose some of my content. And it was a student of mine who'd invested in training. So, you know, it's all love. You know what I mean? I want to see them win. And I want them to do as I do, not just do as I say. But that's rife. But there's good reason behind it, isn't there? Because people, at the end of the day, these are search-based platforms.
Yep.
People are looking and liking very particular content. So instead of you trying to be special, why don't you just start carving out views and market segment that's already there in existence and just bringing it towards yourself? But people don't want to compete. People, you know, the first answer is I want to be original, but the real answer is, the real objection is, you just don't want to compete because you're scared. You're scared that you might fail, you might get no views for 6 months, and then you're going to have the embarrassment of all your friends and family and all the people you seek validation from of not making it on social media, which is just pure ego. And it's absolutely nuts. When you were starting out, this has been what, 2 years, 11 months?
Yeah, almost 3 years.
Hey, my research is good. Shout out the team on the research. Hey, I think it's on your LinkedIn, 2 years, 11 months as a creator. Very recent, very recent. How much money have you made in the last 2 years and 11 months?
So
you can be vague.
I'll just do a...
Or you can tell us exactly how much.
I'll do just for content, like content, the entire kind of content business, including brand deals and everything. I think in that, just near £400,000, I guess. Or I would say between the range of 350 to 500K, between that range, somewhere, because affiliate, brand deals, ad revenue.
Do you feel like the work and the hours and the time you've put in
100% worth it?
That amount, or do you think that you should have maybe made more or less?
In that question, I would say I'm given more than what I should have been given in the first place. The reason why I'm saying is
extremely humble.
The reason why I'm saying this is because my ad revenue was insane, and I was like, what the flip is happening? For an account size and views I was getting was not even that much, right? And I'm like, I'm being paid this much?
On YouTube.
On YouTube. It was like high, it was in the range of 10 to 20K, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. And so when I was getting paid that much, even from brand deals and everything, and as you said, because I've been on this journey for just less than 3 years.
Yeah.
Making that much money is like, holy crap, I'm just 23 years old and I'm making multi-six figures in a year just through content creation.
Which passport is that on? You know, back in the day, when I used to play basketball, there were some dudes, right, who were basketball players, and I swear they'd come over here, and on one passport it would say they're 19 years old, and on another passport from the motherland, they'd be 31 years old. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Like anybody from any country who's emigrated, I'm like, how old are you really, bro?
Really are.
You've been working in the content game for like 20 years, 11 months.
You won't believe it, but on social media, whenever I post content, I'm like, I'm 21 years old or 22 years, and people are like, you're 40 years old, don't lie. Bro. Don't lie, you're 40 years old. And I completely get it, I guess. But the one thing is, I guess I look 40 years old now.
No, you don't look it. I'll say you got the maturity of an older person.
40 years, I guess.
You've got the temperament of someone with a lot more experience. Maybe that's because you've gone through things like leaving your home country and you've developed faster.
And I think I've gone through, like, I don't just sit here and talk from all theoretical perspectives. I like to get into the practical, go through that kind of failures and go through all the problems, struggles, and then I can come here and be like, look, this is how I felt, and there's a chance you're going to feel this way as well.
Yeah.
And
what are some of the things that people don't know about you? Because you've got obviously a great strategy, you've got a great team. You you spoke about your content manager, you spoke about Arpin, is it right?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got Arpin who's helping you out. What are some of the things that people don't get to really see? You know, what are some of the things that you don't want people to see?
Yeah, so I think one thing which always stays in my head is that people think I have it all figured out. I don't. Every day I still have problems and I wake up and be like, oh, but I need to make sure this is done, I need to make sure that is done. Like, what I'm trying to say here is that most people look at me from this outside and be like, this guy has making money, he's made it, he's figured out. But for me, it's like I still feel like I'm still with the same problems as I had before. Like, oh, just I need to make sure this is going out, this is going out. So no matter how much money I will make, I will still have the same problems, just at a higher scale than them. And I realize that is the same with people who are much bigger than me in the sense of like followers or money, and they are going through problems as well. So don't just look at people from the other side of the camera or screen and compare with yourself and be like, fuck, I wish I was him. Nah, we all are going through problems. Whether that's personal problems, business problems. There are months when, as an entrepreneur, you wouldn't be making as consistent revenue. You have a team, you need to pay the team. It will keep you up at night. So those are the things which I feel like I don't share. The reason being is because I'm like, why the hell would people care about that?
Yeah.
They're just here for like, okay, I want to learn this. And so I am trying to kind of bring that more things about like, it's not as easy as what people make it to seem like.
Yeah.
So make sure you know these things as well.
And you need some kind of other angles to fulfill you during that process of making money as well, for sure. In the first year, the first 365, what was the advice that you'd give yourself back then when times weren't so easy, when you didn't have any real traction? What advice did you need as a creator back in that first year that would have helped you and spurred you on to keep going? What would you say now?
I think network with more creators in that first year, because I didn't network with anyone. I would just be in my own room, make videos, post them, make videos, post them, make videos, post them. But if I did network earlier on, it would have been so much easier for me mentally as well. And I think the reason why I didn't, and most people may feel that they can't as well, because they're like, oh, I only have 10,000 followers. Why would people want to network with me? Well, find people in the same size as you, network with them. And what's funny is that you might even, if you reach out to a person with 50,000 followers, you'll be surprised. They will get back to you and be like, yeah, you know what, let's hang out, let's meet or something like that. Because I might have 1 million followers, but I might still learn something from someone with 500K or 100,000 followers. If they recently started to produce amazing content, I want to learn, like, what are you thinking when you're producing this type of content and stuff like that? So just network more, meet more creators or doing the same stuff as you, because it will make life so much easier.
That's really good advice. Brother, I could sit here for another 15 minutes max. No, but you know what? It's been amazing. Honestly, I could sit here for another 3 hours with you. If I didn't have more guests coming on today, honestly, bro, I would be sitting here for the rest of the day with you. What are some of the things that you're working on right now, just to finally cap off, that you're excited about? You mentioned SaaS, but you've more so been talking about coaching and helping businesses, and not just being an educator for, you know, direct to consumer stuff, but helping businesses and brands now. What's this new venture, man? Break it down.
So currently, the main thing which I want to work more into is, as you mentioned, is kind of coaching businesses / clients who really want to work on their social media game, increase their followers, or if it's a business with an app, then increase their installs and kind of take that to that level. And so I feel like I have a lot of knowledge which could be shared. So that's what I'm working on. It's not easy. It's not as easy as growing a social media following for me, because it's a completely different thing. So
I think that's very relevant to just make you aware of as well. You know, we've had consultants from all around the world. Many creators have consulted with our clients. And one of the things that is so challenging is understanding what worked for you personally may not work for this brand. And when that happens, and when that strategy is tested, you need a new strategy, you need a new approach, a new campaign structure. But if they've only done things one way and had results one way, and they don't have that strategic diversity, they can crumble, lose the client, not manage expectations, everyone's disappointed. And I feel like you've obviously got a much bigger depth of experience when it comes to being a creator, and you're not naive. But that's such a good point that I'd reiterate as well, is, you know, when you're stepping into my world, essentially, where your job is now to apply as many different strategies and test what works for lots of different industries and sectors, the customers in different industries and sectors behave and respond a different way to different types of content.
Yeah.
Certain industries, you're not going to get anyone responding to face-to-camera call to actions. They just don't do it because it's not that way inclined. And then others, they do. You know what I mean? So that's the big challenge I feel with user-generated content right now is there's so many options and you need to know the different options and which one applies the best, which will naturally come with experience as well. But like you said, you need help. And trying to get all the ideas off one person. I stand on the shoulders of people like you, people like Arsh Soni, who I'm not sure if you've come across Arsh, the magician on TikTok.
Yes, I think I know him.
He was on Leicester Square billboard for TikTok. Bit of a poster boy for him.
I think I know you're talking
about. Had an
about.
amazing call with Arsh. He guided me massively when it comes to UGC. Marnie Zubair, who's a creator with a jewelry business as well. People like yourself as well, who are obviously just giving. It's just one piece of information that can cascade into an avalanche of views, reach, and you only need it once when it comes to your content creation. And I feel like, if you are stepping into this kind of channel, bro, it's very exciting because you can probably make that avalanche tick a lot faster than a lot of people.
And one reason why is because I would spend in a week, like most of my time is spent on like, how do I get this content? Like, what is that one thing I can add here? Maybe add this here. What can we change that? And that's what. But one question for you was.
Hey, it's my podcast, helmet.
One question for you on your podcast. How has it been managing your personal brand and managing a business around like social media and helping them with? Because I feel like I spoke with one person and he's like he wants to stop his agency because he feels that he's not able to focus on his content. And as I love producing my own content, do you think there's a kind of, it's always like you're working on someone else's and you need to have your mind there and then you have to come in?
Yeah, that's a really valid point. I've automated my agency. So I sold a portion of my agency to the co-director and he is now running Social Agendas full time.
Okay.
But that's only happened after 6 years and I've only made that decision because now I've got 2 children. I have had to make that decision. My big thing is I'm not at my best managing a business. I thought I was. I thought that was my dream. And then I built a business. We scaled to 20 plus team members. We had 5 offices in this building, all on the 10th floor. It was that picturesque, ego-driven model of what my success journey looks like. And then what I realized quickly was I'm absolutely bored out of my mind just dealing with my team management, my team leaders, my executive problems that they're telling me about. This is my life now. This isn't creative. I'm now a business manager and a business leader. I'm not a marketer anymore.
Yep.
And I got into marketing because I love being creative and I love the direct relationship between creative and pounds in the bank.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like that relationship is astonishing to me. It still is to this day. How can a video make 100 grand?
Yeah.
It happens. You know what I'm saying? Like it's beautiful. And when that became my reality, I had children, that pulled me away from the business without exception because you can't get the best of both worlds. And I've surrendered to being a father and I fought against it. I wanted to be a business owner and a father. You can't have both, otherwise you're going to miss the kids or you're going to miss a bit of business. I know I'm not going to miss my kids growing up. So I pulled myself out. We made some plans for Jack to run things for me. And now what that's done is it's allowed me to pull away, not away because the brand is still very much associated to Aaron Branch's personal brand. So it's still me on the ads. It's still me, people who are getting training, they're still learning from my resources that I've created. The Done For You is still the team that I've built and trained through my other team members.
You're just not managing the business.
I'm just not there. So it's all the structure, infrastructure, products, creative, ads. It's all still me, but I'm not managing the implementation of it anymore, which has allowed me to step back. And then it's like, what do I want to do? Well, I don't want to manage more people and create another social agendas. I want to consult with businesses who have existing teams, who have, because they've got existing teams, have existing revenue. They've either raised money or they have resources to invest in their marketing to scale up, because everyone thinks you can scale up on thin air. Doesn't happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And once that criteria is met, I then can come into that infrastructure. It's something what I'm working on right now is called the virtual CMO. And I come in as Aaron Branch, as the virtual CMO, and basically lay out a net of strategy across content, organic, funnels, customer journey, automation, SMS, email, paid ad strategy, multi-platform, sales consulting, if it's a direct to consumer sales business, and coaching them and the team members, because I've done it. You know what I mean? I've scaled my own agency. I've scaled so many businesses. 8 founders have scaled and exited their businesses that I've worked with. You know, these are my friends for life now. You know what I mean? Like, they've all made it and we did it together. With that experience, it's like in my agency, I also felt like I was selling myself short a little bit, because I don't just want to run someone's ads and generate them more traffic and then they generate more sales, because I know solving problem 1 is going to create problem 2, inventory and stocking issues.
Yep.
To get the inventory and stocking right, now it's team and infrastructure. These are all things that I can add value to. So why am I going to start this whole problem when you're not paying me to fix these problems? But if we don't fix these problems and you don't have the budget to pay for it, we're just doing this for 1, 2, 3 months.
Yeah.
And your challenges are just going to arrive. So now it's like, look, this is everything you need. And if you can't afford to get everything you need to start thinking about how you're going to, because your business is never going to grow without that. So it's like higher level challenges is what I'm excited about. Bigger, more ambitious kind of campaigns, which they're not better or worse than startup campaigns, but I know the value and what gives me fulfillment is overcoming big challenges. And if I can do that through content, paid ads, sales, that's something that gets me out of bed in the morning. That's my passion. But I didn't realize that was my passion until I had to do the opposite, which is become a business manager. And it was so boring. It was just like putting out fires every day. It wasn't fulfilling for me. So luckily, I've built that infrastructure and that allows me to be me. And this is what I say to my clients: you need to automate your business, not to replace yourself completely, but just so you can focus on getting the value from the marketplace that you actually deserve. What you charge a client, guarantee you'd be underselling yourself, bro. Guaranteed.
Probably, yes.
I guarantee me and you go pitch. You walk in there, you're up 3-0. We walk out of there, I'm up 4-3.
Yeah.
On away goals as well. You know what I'm saying?
The experience as well.
It's just I know what these people actually need, but I also know that validation of success doesn't just come from numbers. You know what I mean? Like, the big challenge, I'd be excited to see, you've probably already done it in your content, but obviously me and you, our relationship's new. I only just discovered you a month ago, right? The big challenge for creators is let's start them from scratch.
Yeah.
Let's cut them off. No more of that profile. Let's see how you do it now. You've probably done something similar to that already, like starting from scratch. Maybe, I don't know, but
I've done that many with many accounts. It's
here's
difficult.
what you would do, and that's where the real skill of someone like yourself would come out and be showcased. But anyway, dude, don't ask me questions on my own podcast, man. This is what happens 15 minutes later.
It was good though. I got to learn.
Appreciate you. Thank you for coming down. Where can people follow you, find out about you?
Jatin Naran on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
All right, just do this.
Same.
Just do this.
Man, thank you so much.
Bro, respect.